Hello. I used to have a limiting belief that completely upended my life, and I had no idea I had this belief. So I want to share with you how I discovered I had it in hopes that you may be able to recognize some sort of limiting belief that you have, right? Okay. So I used to have this belief so unconsciously, had no idea I had it, that if it wasn't hard to do, it didn't have any value, right? Like if I wasn't working hard, if I didn't feel exhausted at the end of the day, I don't feel like it actually worked, right? I don't feel like I actually put forth any value into my business or being a productive member of society. If things weren't hard to figure out, they weren't really worth doing, right? They didn't have any value. They weren't worth my time if they weren't hard figuring out. But what I realized after a time of being so frustrated of everything being so hard and realizing that I was telling myself how hard everything was and it was making everything more and more and more hard. When it's hard, that's for a reason. It's trying to tell you something. It's hard and it sucks because it's trying to tell you to frickin' stop. Right? It's hard because it's out of alignment. When it's easy, it's in alignment. Now we can still do things that are like, woo, wow, that was a lot, right? But it flows. It makes sense. You're not fighting all of your battles freaking uphill the entire time you're doing it, right? It doesn't send you into psychosis. It doesn't make you angry. It doesn't give you a headache. It doesn't make you feel frustrated. You can still enjoy yourself. Got a freaking hair on my shirt. You can still have fun with what you're doing. It doesn't have to be hard to have value. That was a limiting belief. That was a belief that I got from somebody in my family when I was growing up because they taught me when I was a small child and my brain was all moldy and stuff, right? That you had to work hard to earn money. You had to work hard to be successful. You had to work hard, you had to work hard, you had to work hard, right? If you want to be better on your softball team, you have to work hard. I mean, yes, you need to do things to make yourself more physically adept, right? And practice those skills and stuff, but it should also be fun. If it's frustrating, if it's so hard that it's frustrating, it's not in alignment. It's hard because it's not in alignment, and things that are easy are in alignment. Think about who works the most hard. Who do you know works the most hard? Okay, think about that. Pause the video if you need to. Just works blood, sweat, tears, works so hard, is so tired at the end of the day, doesn't even have time for their own life, to have fun, to be human because they're working so hard all the time, okay? Now, once you have that, pause it if you need to, think about the person that you know that is the wealthiest, that has the most abundance, that has the most opportunities afforded to them. Is that the same person? No, it never freaking is. The person that works the hardest tends to be the person that has the least amount of abundance because they're out of alignment. The people who don't work hard, who are productive, yes, do not mix productive with working hard. That's a very different thing. I am productive all day long in my business, but it's not hard. I don't work hard. I work productively. I work consistently, right? I'm working in the flow state. The flow state is freaking easy. Working hard is trying to do it on your own, pulling yourself out of the flow state. Millionaires and billionaires don't work hard. They're in the flow state. They do what feels easy. People who, and I used to be this when I was an ICU nurse, I worked so hard all the time and I was paycheck to paycheck, and most of those paychecks didn't even quite stretch it out to the next one. Right? And I was working so hard all of the time. I was working overtime to try to make ends meet. And it felt like the harder I worked, the further I got from my own abundance. Because the harder I worked, the more I was focused on, I have to make, I have to earn, I have to make, right? I have to grind, whatever the thing is. And then you're so focused on the lack of your abundance that you literally cannot hold on to abundance if your life freaking depended on it. That's why when you are working so hard and you're focused, okay, I'm going to work overtime, I'm going to work extra hours, I'm work double time, whatever it is for you. Whenever you do that, as soon as you get that money, your car breaks down or your pipe bursts in your house, right? Or you have to go to the emergency room or something like that's just an America problem. Other countries have actual healthcare, but you know what I'm saying. right? The harder you work, the more you're focused on the lack of everything, the more you're just going to continue to perpetuate that lack. And in fact, the harder you work, the bigger you're making your lack. You can't outwork the flow state. You have to be in alignment, right? If it's easy, it's in alignment. That's how you can tell if things are in alignment for you. If they're easy, if they feel good, right? If things are out of alignment for you, they will feel bad, they'll feel hard, challenging, difficult. Okay? Now, it could be that you have something that's in alignment with you and it's feeling hard because you're trying to skip 40 steps. You're trying to get right to the end and you're not ready to get right to the end, right? You have to do those little baby steps first to get to where you're wanting to get to. You have to do the steps that feel easy and correct and good, the things that you don't want to procrastinate with, right? Before you get to the end state that's hard. So I just wanted to share that with you because I believed that for almost my entire life thus far. I just realized this, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, something like that. Time is so made up. I don't freaking know. 2 or 3 years ago, I realized this. And ever since I realized that, my life has dramatically changed. My income has dramatically increased. My free time has dramatically increased. My sense of peace, ease, safety has dramatically increased because I just decided to stop working hard and I decided to be productive and happy and in alignment, right? And it takes a little bit of effort to get into alignment, but it's not hard. It shouldn't feel hard. So what are you doing in your life that feels hard that maybe shouldn't feel hard? Let me know.